So I guess the bad news first, which you previewed there for the government at least, which is that the millennial generation, people aged 25 to 40, are extraordinarily frustrated with the government. So some of the headlines you gave there, they think they're incompetent, out of touch. Two-thirds of them, 62%, think they deserve to lose the next election. So those headline figures are really worrying. And what our report tries to do is get underneath them and understand why. One of the big drivers, might not be hugely surprising, is housing. So among the general population, about 21% of people put housing as a top three issue. For millennials, that's 29%. And they also care about taxation more than the general population. They feel they're overtaxed, particularly in relation to the services that they get. So the headline figures really bad. The two quick positives for the government maybe are one, there's a Sunak effect. So people in their 30s have a 25-point boost. They prefer Rishi Sunak 25 percentage points more than the Conservative Party. And the second is that these millennials don't seem to be extraordinarily left wing. They're what we are calling shy capitalists. They might have left wing values when you ask them. They might prefer a more equal economy, but their policy preferences are more centre right. They want to keep more of their money as opposed to redistribute it. And we see that on a range of different questions as well.
It is nonetheless a big problem for the Conservatives. We've always had this picture of the average Tory voter as somebody perhaps not in their first flush of youth, but if they're not even getting those up to the age of 40 and those people are not beginning to turn more to Conservative, I mean, presumably part of the reason for that is because they don't feel that they're getting what they want from this government, which is, as you say, primarily housing, but also things like transport.
Yeah, and one of the reasons that I think people move towards the centre right or become more open to voting Conservative as they age is they start laying down roots. They get a more regular job, they buy a house, they start a family. And a lot of those things have become more challenging in the past 10, 20 years, not entirely because of government policy, but the rising costs of childcare. Onward have written a range of reports on that, have become a real problem. So that material offer isn't there for millennials to lend their vote for the Conservatives, and there needs to be more action on that. And the other thing is on the kind of social side. So we looked at some of these culture war issues to understand to what degree that was driving attitudes among young people. And actually, we found that they weren't particularly fussed either way, that they don't have very strong views on culture. They're kind of soft left as opposed to hard left. But every time you ask them whether they prioritize an economic issue or a social one, a cultural one, they always want an offer on the economy. So that material offer, childcare, transport, jobs, housing, that's where the Tories need to focus if they want to win this cohort back.
Adam, many thanks for that.